What's up, YouTube, man? I'm back with another banger today, man. You know how Christmas is in about 2 more weeks, so I might as well hit y'all with this. And we got you feel me? Four horrific true Christmas horror story. So y'all see it's a long video. Make sure you grab your snacks. You see I got my snacks. They're not sponsored, but yeah. And no pauses. We just finna react and watch. Let's get into it. Oh Lord.
My name is Gregory, and this happened last December when I was home alone.
Hopefully y'all ain't doing no dumb shit.
My girlfriend had gone to stay with her parents for the holidays, and I stayed behind because of work. I live in a quiet neighborhood.
And I ain't gonna lie, Ryan Criminal, that when you better keep that bleaky, because that's when you 9 out of 10 that when people looking to rob.
Christmas, so I basically had the whole street to myself. At first, I liked the idea of the peace and quiet. I thought I would get a lot of rest and maybe catch up on some shows and just enjoy the coziness of the holidays for a bit. But what happened that week still lives rent-free in my head. It was on my second night alone. It was around 6:30 and already completely dark outside. It had been snowing lightly all day, and there was a white layer on my yard and driveway. I was in the kitchen making a simple dinner, just pasta and chicken. Usually my girlfriend is the one to cook our meals. I'm not much of a chef. I turned on the TV in the background to make the house feel less empty, because as happy as I was to have the place to myself for a bit, I wasn't used to it being so empty and quiet in here.
Yeah, I was about to say that shit be feeling weird.
While I was eating at the table, I heard something unusual. It really took me a second to figure out what it was. It sounded like singing. I muted the TV and listened. The sound was definitely coming from outside. The singing got a little clearer, and I realized the person was singing Jingle Bells. At first I thought maybe some neighborhood kids were playing around outside, but the voice didn't sound like a kid. It sounded like a grown man. I got up and walked toward the front door, because that seemed like the direction it was coming from. The closer I got, the louder it got. By the time I reached the door, it sounded like the singing was coming from right on my front stoop. I felt a weird feeling in my stomach, but at that moment, I still thought maybe it was just a caroler. I opened the door, and standing in the glow of my porch light was a man around 35 years old. He wore no hat, and his coat looked too thin for the weather. But the strangest thing was that he was completely focused on singing Jingle Bells, staring down at my welcome mat like he wasn't even aware I opened the door. I remember forcing a little smile because I didn't really know what else to do. I'd never gotten Christmas carolers before.
You dumb as hell.
But even still, I never heard of a grown man doing it solo. It's supposed to be a group thing.
I'm gonna tell you just like this.
He didn't look dangerous. He actually just looked sort of confused, or maybe slow. I even wondered if he was special needs or something, because he didn't react to me being there.
My door.
He just kept singing. When he finished the song, I expected him to say something, or at least leave. But he just took a breath and started singing Jingle Bells all over again from the beginning, in the same slow, offbeat tone.
Fuck out my doorstep.
Now, he was looking up at me, making direct eye contact. I felt my smile drop, because it was just weird now. I stood there another minute, pretending to listen, even though it felt uncomfortable.
You
I
a
kept
dumb
thinking he would stop after the second run, but he didn't. He just looped the song. I checked my phone and realized almost 4 minutes had passed while he sang Jingle Bells over and over. Finally, I decided it was enough. I told him thank you in a polite tone, and I slowly closed the door. I thought that would send him on his way, but once the door was closed, I still heard the singing. It continued without even slowing down. I walked back to the table and sat down, trying to ignore it, but the longer it went on, the harder it was to ignore. The man didn't seem normal, and it bothered me that he was still right outside my door singing the same song.
I can tell.
I wondered if maybe he was special needs and someone was out there with him.
Just by how these stories go, I can tell you what, right? You're not black.
It made the whole house feel uncomfortable, like someone weird was standing too close to my personal space. I kept eating, but I couldn't focus on the food. It went on for my entire dinner. Finally, after about 10 minutes straight, the singing stopped. The sudden silence actually made me jump because I had gotten used to the singing. I got up slowly and walked back to the front door window. When I looked outside, I expected to see the man gone, but he was still there. He had moved. Now he was standing at the end of my driveway. He was just facing my house, completely still. He was no longer singing. At least I couldn't hear anything from here. He was just standing there in the snow, staring at the door. Something about that felt worse than the singing. He looked like he was waiting. I opened the door a crack and told him he couldn't be here, that this was private property and he needed to leave. He didn't move at all. The whole thing was so unnatural.
Shoot him, smoke him.
I finally told him that if he didn't leave, I would call the police. Then I shut the door again. I watched him for another minute from the window, but
y'all don't understand. But you put a hot piece of metal in a hot piece of lead in his ass.
Worse.
I bet you he get the fuck on
I
there.
decided to just go upstairs, lock my bedroom door, and try to relax. I checked out the window upstairs before changing into bed clothes. The man was gone from the driveway. Thank God. I figured the threat worked.
But he wasn't gone too
I
far.
got into bed, turned on a lamp, and started reading my book to wind down.
He can't be gone too far.
Maybe 20 minutes went by when I heard something from behind the house. I knew instantly what it was, unfortunately. It was the same man singing Jingle Bells again, except now it was coming from my backyard.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, I'm finna blow off your face.
Not only
I
was he
told
directly
you
inside of
to
my
get out my
backyard,
yard,
he
and you
was
stayed
already
in it
looking up at my window.
anyway. Oh,
The man was in
jingle
my backyard,
bells,
standing in the
jingle
snow
bells,
directly below
I'm
my
finna
bedroom
blow off
window.
your face.
He was looking straight up at me while he sang. I slid open the window and yelled at him that I was calling the police. The singing stopped instantly.
That was exactly what I was
Total
showing
silence
to
for
that.
about 3 seconds. Then he suddenly burst into a full sprint toward the back door on the lower level. The second he was out of my view, I heard the most insane sound I've ever heard in my life. He started screaming at the top of his lungs, not like a normal scream. It sounded like a death metal singer, but even more insane and deranged. It echoed across the yard and through the entire house. Then came the banging. The back door shook violently as he kicked it, slammed into it, and probably tried ripping the doorknob off. I felt the vibrations from the impacts in my upstairs
I
bedroom.
swear they be knowing who the fuck with and
Realized
who
this
not
guy
to.
wasn't just weird. He was trying to
His
get
ass,
inside.
man.
I grabbed my phone and called 911 right away. I begged them to hurry, telling them a man was trying to break in. I stayed on the line.
told you,
holding a
he's trying to
baseball bat
break
with
in.
My other hand. I backed into my bedroom closet and shut
What a
myself
blicky.
in. The operator told me to stay hidden. I could still hear the
I'm finna
screams and
smoke
bangs
him while
from
you on the
downstairs,
phone.
and
What the
every second
fuck?
felt like he was gonna break through. Then, just as suddenly as they started, the bangs stopped. Everything went silent except for my breathing. I didn't know if he left or if he got inside. I stayed completely still in the closet until the police arrived. They checked the entire outside of the house and confirmed the back door was still locked. The operator said I could come out and meet them. When I stepped outside to greet them, I finally felt like I could breathe again. We walked around the backyard and saw deep footprints in the snow, showing exactly where he had stood while singing to me through the window, and where he had run up to the back door. The footprints then led off into the woods behind my property. The cops went to follow the trail a little bit, but came back because it apparently wasn't worth going deep into the woods at night. They acted like it wasn't a big deal. They told me people act strange all the time, and that as long as I kept my doors locked, I should be fine.
Know what I'm saying, bro? The
Didn't seem
police
very
not gonna
interested
help
in
you,
finding
bro.
them,
Shoot
and that
these
bothered me a lot,
motherfuckers, bro.
but I was too
Only
shaken
way
up
you
to
gonna
argue.
stop weirdos, robbers and
When they
weirdos
left,
if you
the house
pop
felt
their ass.
horribly
I'm
empty
telling you
and
what.
cold.
Once like
Kept every door and window locked.
they
Checked them over
start
and
getting
over.
popped
I
nationwide.
was
Once
over there a long
robbers
time,
and
just
all
wanted
that
my
stupid
girlfriend
shit
back
start
home.
getting popped nationwide, people
I went
gonna
down to my
think.
parents' place for Christmas Eve and Christmas, thankfully. As far as that man, he never returned. At least, not that I know of.
Shit get sticky, you better have that blick. I'm telling you, boy. I
This
ain't
story
telling
is
you
about
no
my
lie.
Christmas experience from about 10 years ago. I was 6 years old, since my birthday was in November, and I had just finished celebrating. Now we were getting ready for the holiday.
Okay, so you
Birthday
6 years
celebration
old. I'm gonna
happened
give
on
you
the
a
same
pass.
day as the famous Odell Beckham Jr. catch. I lived with Cowboys fans.
Oh, shit,
but
they
I was
were
a
reason.
Giants fan. I remember it being talked about for the rest of the night, And even during my birthday celebration,
That was
it
2016.
was an eventful birthday.
I remember
week,
watching
and
that
I'm
game.
surprised I remember all of this since I was only 6. I didn't understand
So I'm
football,
older than you.
but I understood that the catch
I
was
was 12
crazy.
years old when
So
Odell
I was
caught
just
that ball.
living in
I'm
the
2
moment
times
and
older than
happy
you.
it was my birthday, like any other kid. For my birthday, I got tickets to the Mavs-Wizards NBA game on December 30th. I was a Cavaliers fan, but since we lived in DFU outside of Dallas, I knew a lot of Mavs fans. And I was a small fan myself, so I was grateful. It was going to be my first NBA game. Christmas Day was 5 days before, and I got a brand new Odell Beckham Jr. jersey and a Mavericks shirt and sweatshirt as I was becoming a sports fan. I had a great Christmas, but one of my Christmas gifts was another Mavs game, which was on December 27th against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I was so excited to go to both games. The day came, and we went to the game. The Mavs won a close one, something like 112 to 105. It was crazy to see an event like that in an NBA arena for the first time. We left the game and drove home, which was maybe 45 minutes away from the American Airlines Center. The next couple of days were normal, but I was excited to go back to that amazing stadium and atmosphere. This time we went again. I didn't know it would be the last time I went for years. At the last game, we had nice seats, like 7 rows from the court and in the middle. But this time, we were maybe row 20 and in a corner
At
area.
an
The
NBA game?
experience was
What the
different.
fuck? What?
The game was
Okay,
going
what weird
well,
happened?
and I was enjoying it. The Mavs were killing them by like 20 to 30 points at halftime. Since I was a child, I wanted to roam around and get food and go to the bathroom by myself. But I was with my parents and only 6 years old. So my parents and I walked to get some food. We waited in line for maybe 20 minutes. My dad went to another restaurant inside the arena to get different food, and I stayed with my brother, who was waiting in line to pay. As we talked to the worker, I walked away to throw out some of the candy they bought me before the game. I walked to a trash can maybe 30 feet away. As I got there, this tall white man came up to me and asked, "Hey, are you lost?" I shook my head and didn't say anything. He said he didn't see my parents around and told me, "Let's go look," as he grabbed my hand and walked with me. I was just a kid, so I walked with him. He took me toward the nosebleeds and said we were going to the intercom so they could announce my name and find my parents. I said okay and kept walking. We got to the top and we waited for about 10 minutes. He waited
This
until
is
the
not
coast
the
was
fucking
clear and
2016
tried pushing me
Maverick.
towards the emergency stairs or elevator. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember there was no one around. Then I remembered stranger danger, and the guilt and fear started sinking in. I realized I shouldn't go with this man. He didn't have any credentials. When he let go of my hand to go check his phone, I ran all the way back to the stands. As I ran, I saw him standing there with a small grin on his face. I couldn't find my parents, but I didn't care.
Bro,
I
ran
just
back
wanted
to
be
the
somewhere
court,
safe.
man.
I found my brother, who hadn't told my parents he lost me because he didn't want to get in trouble. He asked if I was okay, and I said yes, choosing not to say anything. The game ended and the Mavs won, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go home.
I understand you, boy. I understand you, boy. And this is a play where you can't even talk that blicky, so
As
shit.
we exited, I was quiet.
And you sick.
When we got in the car, I was also quiet. My parents seemed confused that I didn't seem energetic.
Don't tell me he followed you
But I
home.
told them I was tired. As we drove home, I almost fell asleep, but then a loud honk screeched behind us. It was so loud I almost screamed. I turned around, and there he was. The same man driving a truck with maybe 3 other men inside. I couldn't tell who
Whoa.
they were, just silhouettes. My parents yelled at them from our car when they pulled up next to us, but the men just stared. I wanted to say something so badly, but for some reason,
Shit.
when we got home, I went right to sleep and passed out fast.
I would have been in my damn mama bed. Boy, what the fuck you talking
I
about?
noticed a light flashing at my window. I looked out, expecting something innocent, Santa Claus or something, but instead saw that man
But
standing
people
out there,
are so fucking
shining a
weird,
flashlight
dude.
into my bedroom window. I screamed and ran to my parents' room, telling them someone was at my window as if it were a first-story window. They rushed outside and searched for maybe 20 minutes. They didn't find anything, and since I was a kid, they didn't believe me. They said it must have been a shadow from a car, but I know what I saw. On New Year's Eve, a couple days later, we were staying up until midnight to watch the ball drop. We were about 5 or 6 minutes away from midnight when the doorbell rang. My parents answered it. I didn't pay attention until I heard the man's voice, and I was 100% sure it was him. I told my parents, but they didn't believe me. I told them at the game he brought me to the high level, and I ran away and escaped. But they still didn't believe me. They said it was just a man handing out lost dog flyers for his cousin's dog. The night went on, and I was fine. But then a year later, on New Year's Eve, there was a knock at my bedroom window. Keep in mind, I had forgotten about the situation. I got up and looked, and there was a piece of paper on the window that said, "This New Year, you'll meet me again." I gave my parents the note, and they filed a report, but they never heard anything back. Every couple of years, I get terrified of New Year's Eve, thinking that man will come back. I told my parents I never want to go back to an NBA game, saying it wasn't my thing.
It's
Now
just
I'm
crazy,
16,
like, but you will
and it
get
scares me that the
traumatized.
man knows where I live. I'm considering going
See,
to
I'ma
the
tell you
Cavs
now,
versus
but
Mavs game on January
you
2nd or 3rd, which would be my first
They were
game
back
since
then.
then.
See, now
I'm not
motherfuckers
sure.
would not try to. I'm
This
telling you, but your
experience
average
scared me away from
13-year-old got an
basketball. Made me always
AR
close
in
my
his pants
curtains.
that bigger than him, ready to kill some shit. But motherfucker ready to kill some shit nowadays. I'm telling you, motherfucker not gonna try this stupid ass shit.
I remember this night way too clearly, and even now I think about how close my family came to something really terrible. It was early December, and we decided to drive up north into the mountains to cut down a real Christmas tree. It was something my wife Marianne and I always wanted to do, and our 7-year-old son Andrew was excited about it too. The weather was cold and cloudy, and the sky had that heavy look where it feels like snow is always about to fall again. To us, that added to the Christmas vibe. The whole ride up the winding roads made me feel like a kid again. It was a while since I'd done
They were the
something this
most
unique
weirdos,
in the
B.
Christmas spirit.
Like,
Having
it
Andrew
cold
so
outside.
excited
You
about it
ain't
just
like
brought me
it,
back
for
to my
real,
youth.
dog. It cold outside. Why
When
you
we
trying to
finally
be
reached the
weird,
remote
man? What
area
the
Marianne
fuck?
found online, there were no other cars around in the parking area. There were a bunch of light posts scattered around, so we weren't in pitch black darkness if you were wondering. That's why we picked the place. Still, we did bring flashlights. We parked by a small, unmarked path that led deeper into the trees. There was a lot of snow on the ground still from the snowfall we got a few days earlier, and up this high, the snow took even longer to melt. Andrew jumped out of the car right away and started throwing snowballs at us, so I started throwing them back. We were here to have fun, so of course I was going to try to make it as memorable as possible for Andrew. I grabbed our flashlights and the axe that I planned to use to chop down a tree. We walked up the narrow path with snow crunching under our boots. Andrew kept running ahead, stopping to point at trees he thought might be perfect. The deeper we went, the more the road behind us disappeared, and the only light came from the faint moon glowing behind the thick clouds. It was so quiet that I even asked
Telling you,
Marianne
they
and
were
Andrew to
weirdos
stop for a
did,
second,
boy.
just to
In the
really
woods,
take it in.
if a motherfucker
There
is
was
in the
not a
woods in the
single
middle of the
sound,
night,
maybe a light breeze. That was
shoot
it.
his ass. I don't give a
To
damn
be
what
honest,
you doing.
if I
Shoot
had
his
been there
motherfucking
alone,
ass.
I'd have been slightly creeped out just off the silence and darkness alone. As we walked deeper onto the trail, we had to utilize the flashlights we brought, all three of us. Andrew was having a lot of fun with the flashlight.
If it
until the light from
three
the
of y'all
parking
again,
lot was
one
no
y'all
longer
should have
visible,
beat Brad.
and it was now basically total
I can
darkness
about to see where
outside
this
of the
shit going.
flashlights. He started to get a little nervous, evidently, because he asked how far we were going to go, and he made a comment on the darkness. I kept feeling like someone was watching us, or like something was walking behind us, but every time I turned around, there was nothing but the empty snow path. About 10 minutes in, we finally found a spot where the trees were tall and full. Andrew ran around them in circles, looking for the best one. Marianne stayed closer to me and whispered that she wanted to pick a tree fast because she had a weird feeling too. I got exactly what she meant. This was a lot creepier than I had imagined. Right then, I heard
You
soft
went in the
crunching
mountains with
behind
no
us.
gun.
It wasn't
That be
any of
y'all
us,
problem,
nor was it
bro.
an animal. It
There
sounded
be a
like
lot of y'all
boots
problem.
crunching
Y'all be
snow,
going places
but
with no
very
gun.
slowly, sneaking
What the
like.
fuck?
When I turned around, I saw a man in dark clothes, standing about 20 feet back on the path. He wasn't dressed for the weather. His hands were bare and red from the cold. His jacket looked more like a windbreaker. His face looked pale and stiff, like he'd been out in the cold for way too long. Marianne grabbed Andrew's arm to pull him closer. When the man noticed we were looking at him, he suddenly smiled in an off-putting way and stepped closer. He asked if
Bitch,
we were
what?
looking for a
Nigga,
Christmas
fuck
tree.
you on, I'm telling
His
you.
voice breaking the already unsettling silence was uncomfortable. His voice was deep and kind of soft.
The fuck you on,
Before I could
folks?
say anything, Andrew
good?
answered yes, excited again, and I felt a jolt of
I got
panic
that
because didn't want
fire
this
on
man
me,
knowing
boy. You
anything
get in it
about
close,
us.
I'ma smoke your ass. You
Marianne
good,
quickly told
folks?
him no, that we were just walking. The man stepped closer again, and the way he moved made every hair on my arm stand up. He told us not
What's
to worry
up with
because
you,
he wasn't a
folks? You
park
good?
ranger. He said it like he could tell exactly why we lied, because admittedly, what we were doing was super illegal. I didn't want to talk to him at all. Something was wrong with him. He looked hungry or desperate or like he hadn't slept in days.
Oh, he finna
For
kill
lack of
y'all,
a better
man.
word, he looked homeless. I told Marianne we should head back to the car.
Fam,
She
he's in the
nodded,
woods
ripping
in the
Andrew's
middle of the
jacket.
night, bro. He's
Started
on demon
walking past
time.
the
He
man.
ain't no
I stood
good
by, smiling
motherfucking
and
timing.
watching, giving slight nods as if to say goodbye as we walked. Andrew kept turning around, asking if the man was following, and we told him to stay facing forward.
No.
Every time I looked back, the man
Pick
was a little
Andrew
bit
up,
closer
put
than
him on
before,
your
even
shoulder,
though I
and
didn't
have
hear him
Andrew
speak
licking
up.
back.
I whispered to Marianne that when
I
we
ain't
reached
gonna
the
lie
main
to you,
road,
but you
we
play
had
with
to
me
run
while
to the car.
my girl
She
and my
held Andrew's
children
hand
around
tighter
bumping
and
it,
nodded without
man.
looking back.
Man,
Steps stayed
bitch, I would have
behind us
left
the
you
whole
in them
time,
fucking
dragging
woods.
a little, like his boots were too big or too heavy.
Sorry, little
Once
Andrew,
we
you would have got
close enough to see the gap in
traumatized.
the
You see your
trees where the
daddy
car was
kill
parked, I
someone.
told them to go. Marianne lifted Andrew and ran as fast as she could. The only reason I felt even remotely safe was because of the axe in my hand. But I'm not a violent person, and I've never had to resort to violence in my entire
Man,
life.
shit.
I turned around.
I'm
to
a
block the
violent
path behind
motherfucker.
us for even just a second. The man had
Nah,
stopped
but I
walking,
know when
just
to
staring
be
at me.
violent and when not
Put
to
his
be
hands up
violent. But this is the
halfway,
situation where you
still
got to kill a
smiling.
motherfucker.
And then he said, "I mean no harm. Why don't you get back to your truck now?" And I felt
Well, I
my
don't give
heart
a
skip a
fuck.
beat
Fuck
as he
you.
said this. He said truck, like he knew we came in a pickup truck. I replied back simply that we don't want any trouble. Then I turned.
Man,
and
you
started hurrying back down to
bullshit,
the
man. I
lot.
want all the trouble, nigga.
Halfway
What you
there,
on, bro?
Marianne screamed my name.
First off, I wouldn't even
sounding
be in this
panicked.
situation. But I'm just saying.
No, I thought. When I got to the truck, she showed me that both right side tires were punctured. I didn't have time to examine it for long to realize it was him. I told Marianne to call 911 immediately, but she struggled to find service at
Man, I
first.
would have killed that
She
man,
walked around
boy.
the snowy lot for a bit until there was reception. She never strayed too far away. I had Andrew wait in the truck, who was now clearly concerned as he watched Marianne and I freaking out. He was old enough to know something bad was happening. Marianne seemed to be having a hard time on the phone, so I took it and explained our location and that we felt threatened by a random man in the woods who may have potentially been responsible for the tires.
I don't give a damn if the tire flat, but I would, man. Shit.
Given the potentially unstable individual,
That man followed y'all from the time y'all got out of it. I'm telling you, bro, if somebody's in the woods in the middle of the night, bro, they on bullshit, gang. Why are you like, what?
And that a tow truck will be sent as well. I was instructed to keep the operator on the line while we waited. But eventually, the line started getting choppy, cutting out at moments because of the poor reception.
He fucking with the reception.
Then, Marianne suddenly screamed in my ear to look and pointed towards the tree line by the path we were on. There were multiple people standing just beyond the tree line. I counted at least 3. They looked like shadows from where we were, which made the sight
Shit.
even more terrifying.
Blah,
We
blah,
were
I'm telling you.
soft and
What y'all nigga good,
two
man.
of the
We one of
people
y'all
started
fuck
walking
ass
closer.
nigga don't flame my time. I'm telling you,
I told
but
the
oh man, when I be man, that
She
shit
said
pissed
something
me
that
off
really
to the
made me
point where I'm
uncomfortable.
spazzing. What the fuck
She
y'all
asked if
didn't
I
want
had
to do,
any kinds of
man?
weapons.
Step close.
And when I said I
Fuck
had the
that.
axe,
I got that
she
fire on
replied that
me,
if it came
bitch.
down to it, to use it to
Oh
defend my
God,
family.
I'm telling you, but
By
this
this
when you
point,
need to
Andrew
be
was
this
crying,
is when you
and
need to be a
Marianne tried to calm
bloodhound
him
legit.
down.
Man, I'm telling
I
you.
told the operator that 2 of the figures were still
That
walking
nigga
toward
ran
the
up
truck.
on my car, you
They
know I
weren't
set
running
his
or
ass
yelling
straight
or
up.
anything. They just walked very slowly, like they knew we weren't going anywhere. The third figure strangely disappeared, likely back deeper into the woods away from the light. The operator told me the police
They
were
on
close,
bullshit.
but I had no idea if that meant 2 minutes or 10. I kept looking back and forth between the tree line and the road in the distance, praying to see flashing lights.
Man, I don't think you gotta do it.
tried
Up
to
that
talk to
blick
the
and pop
operator
in the air
again,
one
but the call
time, man. I'm
dropped.
telling y'all, fuck be
The second it
stupid.
cut off, Everything felt 100 times worse. I locked the doors again, even though they were already locked. I kept my hand on the axe, gripping it so hard my knuckles hurt. As the two people were now within range of hearing them speak, we could hear them saying, "We're here to help," as they waved their hands in the air. We didn't recognize either of them to be that guy from earlier. "Do you think they're park rangers?" Marianne asked. And I said firmly, "Not a chance." But perhaps I said it too loud, because Andrew just started crying even more, which Marianne had to try extra hard to console him. These two people approaching were dressed similarly to that first guy, aka way underdressed, and their clothes looked worn out, almost dirty, and they didn't seem bothered by the cold at all. But then, seemingly randomly, the two of them turned around and started running back in the direction they had come from. We didn't know why just yet, but it was soon clear. Never have we been so ecstatic to hear the sound of police sirens.
That's why they ran, the police.
Fast, and eventually, we saw the flashing lights coming from down the road.
But y'all motherfuckers, but let a weird motherfucker. Today a weird motherfucker try some weird shit on me, bro. I'm putting you on the fucking news,
I flashed my lights to try to get the cop in the car to see the men running back into the woods.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm a person that's gonna defend himself and gonna make sure I make it home. And I don't call the police.
Once the SUV was next to us,
and we in the woods too, I'm finna pop you and leave you right there. And then get what? I'm finna go home and roll up me a blunt and smoke your ass.
In the direction the men ran.
And act like nothing ever happened.
First where to go.
I'm talking about I'm gonna at least pop you about 5 times to make sure you're dead. I ain't gonna stop till you're dead and smoke your motherfucking ass.
Andrew was no longer scared, but rather once again excited at the commotion and the sight of police officers. After a long search, the police came back and told us what I already knew they were gonna say. They didn't find anyone, just tracks in the snow that went deep into the woods and eventually spread out in different directions. They didn't know if the people lived somewhere out there or if they were part of some kind of camp deeper in the mountains. They said sometimes drifters or squatters stay hidden in remote areas during the winter. The tow truck eventually arrived, and the police stayed around us the entire time until our truck was loaded up. We had to sit in the back of a patrol car to stay warm while they finished everything. No one really said much. Marianne held Andrew in her lap, and I just stared out the window, watching the dark tree lines, half expecting to see someone standing there again. On the ride back home, none of us talked. It was like all of us were afraid that saying anything out loud would make it real again. We didn't try to cut down a Christmas tree ever again. We didn't even go back to that mountain area.
I bet y'all dumbass then. Why the fuck is y'all in the fucking woods with no fucking gun? That shit's stupid.
Even now, 10 years later, I refuse to go anywhere near it. To this day, what scares me the most is the thought that they had been watching us long before we even noticed them.
Yeah.
They saw us arrive in that parking lot because they knew to strand us by slashing my tires, and they were waiting for us to go deep enough into the trees so we wouldn't make it back to the truck. We were lucky we trusted our instincts enough and decided to leave for the truck almost right away. We were also lucky I was holding an axe, which may have dissuaded them from doing something crazy. I don't like thinking about how close we came to potentially never going home.
I'm talking about just weird ass motherfuckers, man. You just gotta be a weirdo.
I still think about this one night from when I was 9 years old. It was a few days before Christmas. My parents both had things to do that night, and since I was almost 9, they felt okay leaving me home for a little bit. My mom had to run to the grocery store to get some stuff for Christmas dinner, and my dad was working late like he usually did in December. I was sitting on the couch watching a Christmas movie probably, and eating cookies by the fireplace and tree. Outside, it was already dark, even though it was still relatively early, and I remember the Christmas lights flashing on the houses across the street. It was normal, until the doorbell rang.
What the fuck, like,
the only reason this made me stop and look was because it was rather late and random for someone to ring the bell, and my mom always told me never to answer the door when I was alone.
Like, what the fuck? Go spend time with your family on Christmas. Y'all want to be fucking weirdos.
I got up and walked to the door anyway because I wanted to look through the peephole.
You, but y'all gonna get y'all issue, but being no fucking weirdo, y'all motherfucker gonna pop the fuck out of this stupid ass motherfucker, man. I'm telling you, you fucking weirdo, y'all motherfucker. I don't understand y'all.
But he didn't look like a normal friendly Santa. He wasn't holding anything besides what looked like a clipboard, and he was standing way too close to the door like he was waiting for me to unlock it. I didn't know what to say at first. so I just kind of whispered, "Who is it?" The man moved his head a little closer to the door, like he was trying to see through the peephole or hear me better. And in that moment, he figured out right away that I was a kid. He did, I guess, what was his best Santa impression, as he said he was Santa and that he had gifts for me, and that I should open the door. At 9 years old, I wasn't stupid, and I didn't believe in Santa anymore. My parents taught me about strangers. I told them to go away and that I didn't need anything, and I tried to sound brave, but my voice cracked. The man went silent for a second, and then he asked me if I was home alone. As soon as he said that, I knew to walk away. I instantly felt stupid for even letting him know I was home. I didn't answer him.
He was gonna break in.
The door and walked fast to the living room because I suddenly felt too scared to stand near it. I sat on the couch and grabbed a pillow and stared at the TV like acting normal would make the fear go away. But then I heard the doorknob twist. He was testing if the door was locked. I wanted to scream for help, but nobody was home. I waited and hoped he would leave. But a moment later, I heard another sound from the back of the house. It was the back doorknob twisting. It happened so fast after the front door that I bet he ran around the house to the back. That door was even weaker than the front one, and we almost never used it. I felt frozen in place, and all I could think about was that my house only had 2 doors and this man was trying both. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed the phone and dialed my mom's number. When she answered, I started talking really fast, trying not to cry. I told her someone was trying to get into the house and he was dressed like Santa.
Man, let my child call me talking about some shit
home
like
right
this.
now and that I should not open any doors no
I'm
matter
finna
what.
have that motherfucking
She told me
cone
to stay in
one
the living
wheel
room
trying to
and
get
keep
to
the
the
curtains
house.
closed. I
And
sat
don't
on
let
the
me
floor
catch
behind
you
the
there,
couch
cause
where
I
couldn't be
promise you,
seen from
but
any
the
windows.
police will
And I
mother
stayed
the
completely
ambulance. No, the
still.
corner finna be picking
I
you
kept
up.
hearing small
Just
noises
call the
outside,
corner.
like footsteps.
You know
or
that
light
song about
taps.
Future? That
Just
be called
some
Call
forms
the
of
Corner,
sounds
man. I'm
indicating
telling you,
that
don't
someone
even
was
call the
still
police.
there.
Just call the corner.
Eventually,
Tell the
they
corner to
stopped.
meet me at this
Not
address
long
right
after,
here, cause but
I heard
somebody
a car pulling
ass
into
finna
our
die,
driveway,
boy.
and I knew it was my mom because I recognized her squeaking brakes. I stayed where I was until I heard the front door unlock and slam open. My mom came in breathing hard and holding 2 grocery bags. She locked the door behind her and yelled out for me, and I ran to her right away. She hugged me and then told me she had just seen a man dressed as Santa walking down our street. She said she slowed her car down when she saw him, and she yelled at him out the window asking what he was doing. The man told her he was going door to door asking for donations, but she didn't believe him for a second. She said he looked nervous, and that he walked away fast when she started yelling. My mom told me she was proud of me for not opening the door and for calling her right away. She called the police and reported the man, and I'm sure police at the very least surveyed the area. We never found out if he was arrested or if he just
The
disappeared
police
into
don't
the
do their
neighborhood.
job, bro. Y'all gonna have to
2
start
neighbors did
smoking,
say though, that the
motherfucker.
man
I'm
knocked on
telling
their
you, bro.
doors asking for donations, though they said it seemed like a scam. Regardless, that doesn't change the fact that he tried to get into our house, where he knew a little boy was home alone. I still think about that night every year around Christmas when I see Santa decorations.
All these
I
folks
just
getting
remember being 9
traumatized,
years
man.
old, and knowing that man on our porch was not Santa, and that he wanted something else. I guess I was lucky the doors were locked, and my mom got home when she did. What would have happened if that door was unlocked is terrifying to think about.
Well, YouTube. Yeah. I really don't know what to fucking say. I'm just flabbergasted that nobody knew what the fucking, nobody had a blick on them, just like the clown video that I did. Like, well, no, you remember in the clown video, somebody did have a blick on them because they fired a warning shot and his ass took out running. So, yeah, I really don't know how to feel because I know how I already reacted in this situation. I keep blick on me, so I ain't too much worried about no motherfucker doing no weird shit to me, cause the shit will be documented on the news. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel about that video in the comment section. Make sure y'all hit that like button, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, and make sure y'all stay tuned for more, man. I'm coming with them.